Hello, everyone. I am 1 minute before 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock, wherever you are. But here on Instagram, I am like on fire. You have no idea. I've been playing around with all of these little Instagram filters, and I know for those of you on YouTube, you have no idea what I'm talking about. So let me go ahead and I'll bring this in so you can see what's going on. Now, today's show, we're definitely going to be talking about the future of live events for speakers. So let me go ahead and just pop this in really quick. And I'm going to turn the volume down so you don't have to hear all of this. But this is what you're getting over. This is what we're getting over on Instagram. It is just me on fire. I don't know. I should probably stop playing with all these things. Let me go over and be something a little bit more normal. All right. There we go, everyone. I hope you all are having an amazing day. It's been very eventful here in the United States. We have an inauguration that was going on, and we have put into office our very first woman, our very first South Asian woman, and our very first Black woman as vice president. I mean, look at us. I mean, it only took, since 1776 to progress. But that's just me throwing some shade at this United States. But it's been a very eventful day. And of course, I have been very distracted because I watched a little bit of the inauguration, and it made me realize that I got to get up with my coat game. Jeez Louise, those women the coat game was like on it. Too bad I'm not leaving the house anytime soon. All right. So hello, everyone. I am Phylecia Jones. You are watching Travel the World as a Speaker. And we talk a little bit about traveling and how you can leverage your message, your voice, your business, and speaking so that you can travel the world. And tonight we're going to talk about the future of live events for speakers. So every now and then I do try to drop in what I think is going on when it comes to speakers. So you have to excuse me. I got my tea and my water so that I won't be hacking too much. But I like to drop in and talk about what is the future going to be like for us speakers and how we adapt. Because I see a lot of people, we're definitely on the speaking game, but we're not keeping up with what else is going on in the world so that we can adapt and be ahead of the curve, and while everybody else is being left behind. So we're going to talk about that today. And, oh man, and since everything was going on in Washington, D.C. here in the United States because of the inauguration, so we have just installed our 46th president. Our 46th president, and I think they got to work because of all of the restrictions. They can't do all of the fancy ball gowns and parties and stuff, so they are definitely at work. And they did pull off a live event, a lot of security, a lot of masking, all of that kind of stuff. So good for all of those people who decide to give their lives over to civic duty. Good for them. And with that, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a travel story. I don't have a big one, but I am one of those people. I have never really been to Washington, D.C. before. And what I mean is I have gone there there was a guy I dated. I went there for Thanksgiving one year, and I've always flown through, or, you get off a plane, or I've gotten the taxi ride through. I have never really gotten out to do anything except for this one time. I actually had a speaking engagement. I spoke in DC. It was actually in I think it's Tyson's Corner, or not Tyson's Corner. It was some other part of Maryland, Maryland. And my friend, I said, you know what? I want to go to the African American History Museum. I never have time to see anything. And I get the taxi ride. So I've never done the DC trip where I actually can go out and do stuff. And I've been there multiple times. I've had to go there for work. And I was able to wander around Georgetown for just a little bit and then went to work. I went to see a cousin. We only had time to walk up to the White House, and then they made us leave. So it was like 10 minutes. And so yeah, I've gotten the squeeze it in. And if you got 15 minutes, that's all of DC that you see. But this one time I actually had a speaking engagement, and I said, you know what? I told my friend, I want to go to the African American History Museum, but it was during the week. She was working, and she said, look, I got 2 hours, or it was a total of 4 hours because we had to get on the train, get into DC. I think we got something to eat. Then we walked over to the thing. And she was like, I got 2 hours. And I will say this, we did the African American History Museum in 2 hours. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I wish I could see more than one thing. And it just so happens oh my gosh, I can't think, the little tall thing that looks like the penis thing. Uh, the Washington Monument. So it's kind of like across the street. So ran across the street, saw that, walked around, got some pictures. I think it was still closed because they had an earthquake like a couple of years before that. So I was able to see two things when I was in DC. So I figured by the time, if I can get 10 more trips, I will actually see all of Washington, D.C. And, and then I can see all of the things that's going on. Oh my gosh, I got my collars out doing crazy things. So if you have been to DC and you've gotten the mega tour, I'm so proud of you. I have yet to do it. So I literally squeeze it in every time I'm there because I'm always there for work and I have not had a chance to be there for like a real relaxed vacation. So unfortunately and fortunately, sometimes this is one of the things you do when you are traveling for speaking or for work. You just kind of squeeze things in, make do of it. But if you haven't visited the African American History Museum, it actually is a pretty cool, even for the 2 hours. We went through it pretty quickly, but it was it was actually a very cool experience. So I will have to go back again. Hopefully we get out of this pandemic stuff and then we can all get back to traveling again. But so I got a chance to kind of relive my sprinkled DC moments by watching the bits and pieces of the inauguration. I didn't watch the whole thing because it started early. And I was in bed. I'm not going to even lie. I was in bed. But that coat game, geez. I mean, it kind of makes you wish that we were doing live events so that we can go back to putting on some really cool clothes. Because right now, I have not put on any really cool clothes in a long time. All right. I've wasted enough of your time. So let's go ahead and talk about the future of live events for speakers. Now, I talk about this quite a bit because I want you to know what's going on. For those of you who are leveraging speaking through your job, through your business, you just want to get out there. If you're leveraging speaking, I really want you to pay attention to what is going on in the event industry. The event industry, for the most part, is kind of dictating what we can and cannot do. Because if there are no events, there are no speakers if we want to go speak in person. And I did forget to tell you that this is the Travel the World as a Speaker brought to you by iFind You Close. And if you are needing help finding speaking engagements, go check us out at ifindyouclose.com, where we deliver every Monday, new speaking opportunities for you to go and, dive in and get on stage. And right now we have tons of virtual events, and the crop of events that came out this week actually is pretty good. Women empowerment, a couple of marketing events, and some gaming events. So for those of you who are my gamers, they're looking for leadership speakers, human resources, customer development, all of that kind of stuff. So go check us out over at ifindyouclose.com and stick around and get your free high-paid speaking gig attraction assessment. All right, and I totally lost my place because I forgot to tell you where I am. Hey, oh my gosh, is it PETA? Hey, how are you doing over there on Instagram? I am of an age where I actually can't see much anymore from far away. I do see PETA. Hopefully, just let me know what your name is. So we're talking tonight about I'm Phylecia. Hi. We're talking about the future of live events for speakers, and we're here over on Instagram and on YouTube. So if you want to come join us on YouTube, come to ifindyouclose.com/YouTube. We're trying to get to 1,000 over here, and we're doing this every day. All right, so here's the deal when it comes to live events. We have to pay attention as speakers, otherwise, pedagogy or nah. Pedagogy or nah. Hey, let me know if I get that wrong. I spell my name with a P, but it sounds like an F. So I'm very sensitive to saying people's name, and I know you can't talk to me, but I hope you're doing well. All right. So when it comes to these live events, we really do have to pay attention, and the live events industry is really trying to adjust to this pandemic, the future pandemic, these closures, all of these things we can and cannot do. And this really does affect us as speakers because this dictates whether we have events to go to, whether or not we can get paid, whether or not we can negotiate and what it is that we're trying to negotiate. I will say at this exact moment, virtual is it. There ain't any, this is where we are, at least for the next 6 months. A lot of people have been putting a lot of hope on events in the summer and in the fall. I don't know where I stand on it yet because, like a year ago, I would have said, okay, cool, we'd be ready for this, for the summer. But with the pandemic, we have new strains coming out. We have vaccines, but they've staggered how we're getting vaccines based on age, based on your industry. And so for people like me, my husband did the math and he said, based on how they're giving out vaccines in the United States, technically, based on the numbers today, we wouldn't be eligible for a vaccine until January of next year, maybe early fall. Woo, that is a very long time. And we don't know what the rules are at the moment with vaccinated people hanging out with non-vaccinated people. What we do kind of know is that a vaccine is not a cure-all. You're not like gone. So what's going to happen with these events over the summer and fall? I'm really not sure, because that's going to be another safety measure everybody's going to have to deal with, how do we make sure everybody is safe? That has been the biggest thing from events over the last year, of trying to figure out when they go live, how do we keep everybody safe? And if we are dealing with mixed company, vaccinated versus non-vaccinated, that means everybody's wearing a mask. Not everybody's wearing a mask. Some people will wear a mask. And, we do have a polarized a viewpoint on wearing masks here in the United States. So you're going to have to really pay attention to what is going on. And that's going to be one of the biggest challenges for live events. So that means right now, virtual, at least for the next 6 months, is going to be it. A lot of events have fingers crossed and they have made their reservations for the summer. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. So we're just going to have to just go with the flow. But don't be surprised if a lot of events start pivoting into virtual again. A lot of my events that I had from last year moved to this year and now have completely canceled into 22. It is what it is. So here's the deal. If virtual is it, that means you're going to have to adjust to being a virtual speaker for the short term, long term, or for now. Let's just say for now. On yesterday's show, for those of you on Instagram, all you have to do is go to IGTV. We talked about ways of being more effective as a virtual speaker with creating a room, your lighting, your setup, everything. Same thing for those of you who are on YouTube. All you got to do is go listen to yesterday's show. I'll make sure I will tag it in so that you can be reminded. But we've talked about that. But here is what's the concern for a lot of events. A lot of people did go virtual. And a lot of people started offering free events. Now, I saw a range of, they let everybody in for free, especially some of the bigger ones, especially the ones that will have the biggest credibility for you as a speaker. They started having free events and they were leaning heavily on sponsors. So if you bring in the sponsors, we cut out the cost of having people live. So I assume everybody's thinking that, we can cover this and we get more people. But what they're finding in the event industry is you can't keep giving things away for free and expecting it to convert. And that is one of the concerns a lot of people are doing. A lot of people have been giving away free summits, free live events, all of these things. And they're realizing that in order to keep up with the production quality, the production value, they're going to need more money. So they're going to have to start charging people. And unfortunately, a lot of us are zoomed the F out. Some of us are okay. Some of us have had to take a break because, if we've been sitting on cameras all day, it does get very tiring. So events are going to have to figure out where they are in between all of that. And that means they're going to have to update their technology. They're going to have to start charging. And now we don't know if we're going to get the same amount of people who were coming to virtual events if the money is involved. Now, I've been a part of a lot of events over last year, and the money involved for people to participate was very low. $99, $97, $29. But you know how this is. I mean, we're all business owners here. The reality is you can't keep running things for free because on the back end, running a virtual event costs money. moderators, platforms, making sure you have help, design. All of that stuff starts adding up. And what a lot of people are trying to figure out is like, all right, how are we going to make this jump into having to ask people for money? Now, so far you might be saying, okay, what does this have to do with speaking? The reason this is important for you as a speaker is now you're running back into events that have budgets. That's where we are. Events that have budgets. Now, and whether or not they're going to pay you or anything, that's where we have to really start paying attention. If these events have budgets, whether or not they're going to pay you, are they going to pay you for your time, or how are they going to compensate you? Now, when everything was free, people say it's exposure. Now, here's the deal. Even because people are paying for events, they're still going to say it's exposure. So this is just kind of the playing field that you really have to understand before you get into it, because if events are starting to spend more money for their production value, production quality, they may start asking you to up your production game and production quality, which means guess what? You get to cover the cost of all of that. And we have to start asking, like, what can I get out of this as a speaker? So that's what I want you to pay attention to. We're running into this point where we could see a lot of Zoom fatigue, people not really wanting to attend events. And I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I've been a part of a lot of events, and last year was a struggle to attend a lot of them or to stay focused. When I'm here, I got all my things going on. It is really hard to stay focused. It has to be a session that I really, really, really want to pay attention to. And I can turn the event on, turn my camera off, and walk around, but it has to be something I really, really want to know. So that's going to be another tip for you as a speaker. It needs to be something. Make sure when you are pitching your topic, I don't care what it is, make sure it's something that's going to attract people to not turn that camera off or to turn their computer off and go do something else while you are speaking. Go watch yesterday's video where I talked about how to be more effective as a virtual speaker. You're going to have to start pulling out all of the stops to get people to start paying attention to you through a virtual session. And the other thing that what we're seeing is I'm seeing this a lot popping up of how it's around engagement. And this is one of the struggles events have. I think they're going to do a really good job, but how to increase engagement at an event that is virtual. Now, like again, yesterday, we talked about how to be more engaging with your presentations, talking to people, being excited and exaggerating. We talked a couple of weeks ago about talking to the camera. All of these are going to be so important. They are going to be so important for you when it comes to doing a virtual presentation, because events are about to level up and they want engagement. So one of the things that I want you to do as a speaker is to figure out how to build this community around when you are speaking. And a couple of tips that I actually gave some of the folks inside of iFind You Close is, you're going to have to start inviting people offline after the event, not offline, but after the event, to kind of have a little powwow session. Get them while they are like, okay, I'm interested in this. You're going to have to start negotiating with event coordinators. Can I get another virtual room so I can get people who are interested? Somehow, some way, you're going to have to create mini communities when it comes, mini, M-I-N-I, mini communities when it comes to doing these live events. And of course, if you have questions about anything, please put them down in the comment box. All right. I honestly think this is going to be, it's going to be key for you as a speaker, especially if you're leveraging speaking to convert people into your business. You're going to have to start making this big 500 person, 300 person virtual event where people are not controlled. They're not in the same space. You're going to have to figure out how to bring them into your session, and from there, how to get them to engage into something else, not just a freebie, not just visiting your website, something that will get them engaged. Invitation to another virtual room. Create your own Zoom for people like, hey, as soon as this event is done at 9 o'clock at night, we're going to have a happy hour powwow, something to create your own little mini community, to bring people into your world, and to offer extra value so people will know what you're talking about. That is something I want you to really to pay attention to, because a lot of events are trying to figure out how to create community around what they are doing, okay, to hang out. Now, I have been a part of one event, and they do this actually very well. It's Podfest. From the producers over at Podfest. They do a really good job because they let speakers go in and they can create their own meetups inside of the platform. They can create their own virtual happy hours. You may have to provide the Zoom link or however you're meeting, but they allow that ability for people to go hang out while at an event. So you're going to have to take a lot of these cues from when we were able to go out in person and get creative and try to recreate this in a virtual platform. So when it comes to the future of live events for speakers, virtual is it. Virtual is it. You're going to have to be flexible because they're trying to change as much as they can on the fly, but virtual is it. And you're going to have to work inside of this virtual space. All right. You're going to have to work inside this virtual space as much as possible. You're going to have to get creative and trying to figure out a way to create some community inside of that event so that you can go hang out, deliver value, understand who is there, because a lot of these events now are attracting 500, 1,000 people have registered, and you only get like 10 people come to your thing. And unfortunately, that means you're going to have to work a little bit harder to create that little community. That means you're going to have to be at the event the entire time. If it's a 3-day, 24-hour event, guess what? You might have to hang out at that point. And we need to start paying attention to a lot of the people that were offering free events or low-cost events. They're realizing that the cost of production it ain't cheap. So they're going to have to start asking for money. And this is where we get to this, I don't know if this is worth it. Remember, a lot of these events, even in person, they're charging $500, $800, $1,200 to attend in person, but they have the rooms, they have the food, they have the coffee, they have the water. And a lot of people are trying to, they're gonna, I'll put it like this. A lot of events are gonna have to justify why they're gonna charge that much money when I'm just at home. So that's why they're going to have to start building this engagement, upping their production quality. And that means, unfortunately, a lot of this is going to fall on us as speakers to kind of stay toe for toe for what they're doing. So that's why yesterday, I think it was a very important show where we did talk about upping your game and being more effective as a virtual speaker. Now, all of us, if you don't have the budget to go out and rent a space or rent a stage, we get it. You don't have the budget to have video cameras and doing all the fun things. My goal here is to give you as many tips as possible so that you can up your game. So listen or watch yesterday's show to give you an idea of where to start. And these are just little minor tips. And then, of course, I think what I'm going to do is separate videos just kind of showing you what I have here based on a medium to low budget of what you can do. And then, of course, if you have a high budget, you can just blow it out the water. But for those of us who are just trying to leverage speaking to grow our business, I don't want you to go broke doing all of this, but I need you to make an investment, because everything that we're doing right now is going to be so key. It's going to be so key for you to be able to negotiate future speaking engagements, to negotiate being able to work from home. Like, if you honestly can't travel and you're sick, guess what? You can still show up and deliver, but it has to be amazing. So these are some of the things that we're going to have to pay attention to when it comes to the event industry. So don't worry. I keep my little finger in the pulse of what events are doing. And it's mainly around live events, conferences, and even concerts. I've been very interested to see how concerts are doing things. Because I know a lot of us, we want to be able to experience the music. And I think I told you the other day about attending a BTS concert, which is a Korean pop band, and was very impressed with how they got creative with different camera angles. And those are some of the things I'm going to be doing here so that we can talk through it so that you can deliver an amazing virtual experience for as long as we have to be virtual. All right. That's all I got for you. I'm not going to lie. I actually was taking a nap before I came down here. The last couple of weeks have been distracting. When the news cycle is going and there's things going on, I do get distracted. So I've actually learned to just give myself grace and just kind of enjoy all the things that's going on. Monday was Martin Luther King Day. I recorded my podcast and it's called Humans Exhaust Me. So you should go check us out. It has nothing to do with business or work or anything. It's just pure straight entertainment, fun. And yesterday, what was going on yesterday? I have no idea what was happening. I think I actually did work a little bit yesterday. And then, of course, today was the inauguration. So we're getting into the groove of January. The groove of January. The groove of January. What happened to those old school New Year's resolutions? Like losing weight. I guess we're over that now, aren't we? All right, folks. I appreciate you. I'm going to sign off here on Instagram first. So I appreciate you. And I got to tell you what we're talking about tomorrow. So that if you are here on YouTube, all you have to do is go and hit the set reminder. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about whether or not you should hire a speaking coach. Ooh, this is going to be a good one. Because I have some opinions on this. So we're going to talk about whether or not you should hire a speaking coach. So for those of you on Instagram, I appreciate you from wherever you are in the world. Go check us out at iFindYouClothes.com if you are needing some help getting speaking engagements. And make sure you fill out the form to get your free high-paid speaking assessment. I love doing them. They're custom. They're individual, just for you. So go ahead and check that out. I will see you tomorrow. Bye. All right, for everyone else here on YouTube, of course, I appreciate the stuffings out of you. Hopefully, you're not being stuffed to death. And if you have any questions about anything, all you have to do is just let me know. I'm getting a little bit more organized with what we're doing here on the show, and I'm really excited about this. If you ever decide to take up live streaming, talk to me first. I'll tell you all the things. It is not for the faint of heart. That's all I can say. So take care of yourself. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.